So I told you guys yesterday that I was going to tell a story about the parking lot fight. My sister and a friend of my aunt's and I were sitting at the table in the shade outside of the nursing home rehab place one afternoon, late one afternoon, and we were visiting, but we were starting to have trouble hearing one another. And at the table right next to us, there was a woman and a really badly handicapped or badly injured or something man, and a young boy. I'm going to guess he's very, very tall and thin, but I'm guessing maybe 14 to 16 kind of range. You know, he still had a sweetness to his face, a youthful sweetness, but he was old enough to have a sort of a WTF attitude going on, you know. And his, I assume, mother was shouting at another woman who was swearing and not quite threatening, but almost. And it kept going on for like 10 or 15 minutes. And the main word all started with F. And, you know, I know the word, I'm very conversant with it. But when it's just repeated and repeated and repeated and repeated, it just becomes really annoying. And the woman we were with is really religious. It was bothering her. You could see her blood pressure rising with just the repetition. And the nastiness. It wasn't just that word, but the nastiness behind it. So it kept going on, and finally my annoyance rose to the top. And I said, "Excuse me, but could you choose another word?" "Mind your own freaking business." I said, "Ma'am, I asked you nicely. Would you hold it down or choose some other language? Because you're offending us." "You have no effing... mind your own effing business." She just... like, serious. So we decided to ignore her. Well, that really ticked her off. In the meantime, while she's berating this other woman for having, it turns out, made her wait a couple of minutes so her mom could get unloaded out of the car, she's making her mother stand there with a walker, wobbling, while she tears into all of us. And it turns out the whole fight was because the one woman had pulled into the handicapped spot, apparently without a handicap placard or license plate. And the second one, the one with the limited vocabulary, pulled in behind her and demanded that she immediately vacate that spot so that she could get her mother unloaded. And she said, "If you just give me a minute, I just need to get my husband out of the car and into his wheelchair." Well, a minute was way too long for her because she was way more important than anybody else. And that's when she started. So this woman said she ignored her, and she just got her husband out of the car and got him in the wheelchair, let her son push him up to the door. She moved her car to a legal spot, and then they sat there with their lunch, and they were just trying to have a little family time. They weren't doing anything to offend anybody. Here comes this woman screaming and swearing, and who knows how long this has been going on, because apparently this is the second or the third time she attacked her over this parking spot. Well, finally, we ignored her. That really ramped her up. So she's screaming and swearing. Now, she's got a couple of small ones with her. The other gal has a teenager, and I know he'd heard that word plenty of times before, but still in all, that's not the kind of behavior we want to model for our teenagers, in my opinion. And so pretty soon we just started giggling. Well, that really... I thought her head was just going to explode. So she stomped off to her car, which, unbeknownst to her, was parked right next to me. I was not in a handicapped spot either. She had parked in a regular spot because she couldn't wait that extra minute for the handicapped spot. And I thought, oh gosh, I'm driving my Aunt Jean's car. She's going to ding the hell out of it. She didn't know that car belonged to me, thank goodness. So she gets in her big old oversized truck, you know, seems like, well, whatever. Anyway, big, giant, oversized truck. And she gets it out of the parking space and pulls up to where it's an ambulance drive, a loading and unloading zone. Of course, she blocks it so that she can continue to berate us. And we did. We all started just laughing. And she eventually drove off. But seriously, it was worse than a 2-year-old's tantrum. And we found it to be funny because her maturity level was that of maybe a 6th grader. Maybe she didn't reach that level. I don't know. But anyway, I hope you'll get a charge out of the story. I thought it was rather funny.